I'm going to start off right now by offering up an apology to you. What the viewers experienced was rude, it was cruel, it was inappropriate, and we are so sorry. I also want to say sorry to Lynette Romero, because Lynette, I love you so much. You literally are my best friend. You did not deserve what happened to you on Wednesday. Deb, can you please take the iPad really quickly so I can explain to everyone what exactly went down?
All right. It sounds like that there is a lot of newscasters in the news getting
Baby at the news.
Jesus.
Broadcast journalism, honey. This is
They
this is your
say
territory.
they say that as a newscaster, you're not supposed to become the story, that you're supposed to report the news. But I'm
Well,
kind of
child,
on
honey,
Mark Mester's side a little bit here.
they definitely in the news this week. We got Mark Mester. We got the guy from New York Spectrum, Eric Adam.
Jesus.
We have lots going on. Niggas out here cheating, acting like they ain't got no sense.
It's just, I would love to also kind of talk about, you speaking of cheating, I'm glad you said that. Adam Levine, please come to the floor.
Yeah, that's what I'm
so
saying.
we can talk.
Everybody's out here just wilding. This was a week for celebrities to show their ass once again. And so we'll be covering all of that here. We could not leave you guys hanging, pop stars. We are super excited to get ready for episode 18
Let's
of
do it.
Cold Pop. Let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on?
Hey, it's Trenton Rashad.
And I'm Marcus Drew Steele, and I got a new cut, a new hairdo,
Do you?
a new style, a new
This is new?
color.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it some
remember
color
I
in
had
there?
braids. Well, there's always been color in here for like since this summer, but I just got it twisted.
Okay. Okay,
So,
twist.
I had to let my hair down last week, and so now I got it twisted.
Come on, protective style.
It's called bundles.
Go off. I love it. Protective style.
Protective. What's going
Carol's
on, boy?
daughter. Nothing much. It's been
Carol's daughter.
It's been a very chill week. It is getting colder here in Chicago.
I hear.
So it's been, it's like, oh, okay, like fall is here. Like we're getting into it. So but outside of that, everything has been good. Catching up with my television. I'm glad we had a lot of good shows premiere this week. Abbott Elementary.
It's so much happening. There's so much happening.
I got to watch that. I got to watch Los Espookies, which is my
What
little
is that?
show on HBO Max. I watched it. They're in season 2 now. So this was the brainchild of Julio Torres, Fred Armisen, and Anna Fabrega, who they're all together, but I know Julio Torres and Fred Armisen specifically from SNL. Julio was a writer and Fred was a cast member for years, but they started this show called Los Spookies last year during the pandemic that I love. It's really cute, just like fun, silly stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that, so I may have to look at it or put it on the ever growing list of shows on my TV refrigerator or on my refrigerator.
Got it. Yeah, no. So I got to watch that. I'm glad that that's back. I watched Dahmer this week as well, so I started.
Did you watch? Did you just watch an episode, or did you watch the whole thing?
No. We just I think I'm one episode in.
Okay, because I would plan on watching that too.
Yeah, really good. And then the Queen's funeral was like everywhere earlier this week. So watched that and just saw all of the craziness and hoopla with that. It's interesting to watch, regardless of how you feel about the monarchy and all of that stuff. Just how the Brits have turned out for the Queen. I mean, it was really crazy.
I saw the memes and the gifs of how good Meghan looked, and everybody like sharing those because she had on that black with the cape and that.
My mom
hat.
and I were my mom and I were watching the funeral, and we were like on the phone, just like talking about everybody and just gossiping, like we were actually attendees at the funeral. It was it was funny. of course, and then sticking with Housewives. This is, I want to say, I'm watching Atlanta's reunion right now. This probably has
Mm-hmm.
to be the most boring reunion
Oh,
in the Atlanta franchise history.
because it didn't happen really in this season. But Marlo and Sheree.
This is rough to watch. And them doing three parts, I think, was a mistake. I think you could have got this done in one or two. There just wasn't that much to for us to rehash. While I felt like the season was okay, I felt like the season overall was fine. I think that um there wasn't much for us to revisit. There wasn't
Mm-hmm.
much for us to revisit during the actual reunion, and so
I can see
that
that.
dealing with that. Beverly Hills kind of took a turn this week as well. Um, which I'm not sure exactly how I feel. I feel like with Beverly Hills and what's been the critique of everyone has been that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, all of the drama and all of the craziness is happening off screen. So we don't actually get to see it. It's all kind of like reported and regurgitated back to us through the cast, which I don't know how I feel about, but it's still, like I said, um, I'm thoroughly entertained.
I still, yeah, at some point, I will catch up on Beverly Hills.
I don't know if it's going to happen for you, my friend.
I know it's just,
I just don't think it's
there's
going to
just so
happen
much
for you.
TV.
And like, if you like, it's like the gym. If you don't make time for it, it's going to let you go.
Hello, I
So,
say that.
and I can
Well,
say that today because I did go to the gym today.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Well, Potomac's
Um,
about to start, so
I'll always
you're going to
record
have to be ready
Potomac.
for that because
Obviously, I will.
we'll have
I
to talk about
record
it on here.
Potomac,
But
so of course.
but yeah, what's been going on with
So
you?
A busy week work wise. I haven't had a chance to fully commit to any new shows. There's a lot of ongoing shows right now that I'm watching still, like of course She-Hulk, of still House of the Dragon, still. I just started a new series on Star Wars called on Disney Plus from Star Wars called Andor. They did a 3 episode season
I saw
premiere, and so
that.
watching that. And then, of course, Abbott Elementary is back, like you were saying. So caught the first episode of that. Just it's a lot. It's just a lot of TV, boo. A lot of TV.
So how do you feel about the season premiere of Abbott?
I loved it. I was a little emotional at the end. I was like, Janine, girl, we know you're struggling. Like, you can't even make rent. We've been there, honey. This is it was very, very everybody has those days where like just everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to kind of see that play out for her because I've definitely had a day where it's like I thought I was on my shit and then just nothing would go right for me. And so it was very interesting to kind of see that.
Yeah, I love it that we're getting a little deeper into the lives of the actual teachers, and it's not so glitzy and funny, and but I think that they're speaking to some real life things that educators go through of like just how poorly teachers are paid,
Yeah.
how hard it is to get resources for students, like the whole ADA situation with
Yeah, yeah,
Barbara
yeah.
Howard's character. I mean Barbara Howard's student, and so it's like yeah, I'm super excited. It got me excited and pumped for the season. So
They're already on the record list, so I catch them. I'll record them all, and I'll watch them, and I enjoy it. And so I'm so happy there. I'm sure this season will be a 24 episode season. It's got to be.
yeah, and what else did you say? You said House of the Dragon, and what else? There was something else you named.
I said She-Hulk, and then I said
I
Andor
watched
on
She-Hulk
Disney
this
Plus.
week, the wedding episode.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah,
cute.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there you
I
go.
think this is the mid-season.
So check out me. Look at me
I'm
watching
sure you were held
She-Hulk.
against your will to watch
No,
it.
no, no, no. I just watched it and it was like it's okay. I'm still not like, oh, this is not like WandaVision. No, but it's
Oh well,
good.
no, no, it's a comedy. This is a comedy.
It's
Yeah,
good though.
it's a procedural comedy.
It's
So,
cute.
but other than that, that's all I've been up to. Just a lot of that. We're recording this on a Saturday, and it's also Folsom weekend here in San Francisco. So
Oh,
we're gonna
have
go
you
check
done
it out.
any
I'm gonna go check it
activities
out.
yet?
Not yet. So I'm going to be doing something, going to a party tonight, and then the street fair is Sunday. And so this will be yesterday and whenever this episode premieres. So yeah.
Maybe you should take ColdPOP on like an exploration, just like take a camera and we could do like a
Well,
feature of you at Folsom and what you are doing at the festival and at the events. How cute, how great
so
would
fun
that be?
fact.
How fun would that be? Don't we want to see that, pop stars?
So fun fact, cameras are not allowed. They are highly discouraged. So I will
Really?
not
Because
be doing that.
I've seen some
Yes.
Folsom footage.
Oh no, I'm sure you have, but
Oh,
it's
baby.
again, it's one of those things where you have to have people's consent because
Okay.
cameras are flash photography and camera work are
You can't go out there with a
highly
clipboard and
discouraged
a
unless you
stack of
have consent.
waivers. I want you to bring this experience to our listeners.
No, I would say if you want to
That's
experience
whack.
Folsom, you should come. You should come and experience
Not
it.
maybe not everyone has the resources to go. So let's bring this to our bring this to our
No,
audience.
I will not be.
You will
No,
not
ma'am,
be.
Pam. I will not be.
Okay.
Let's move on because I know we have some plenty of other things to talk about than my
I'll say
Folsom activities.
he wants to talk
Thank you
about
very
something
much.
else. All right. So let's move on to our beloved segment of this podcast entitled Woo Cha.
Woo chow.
This is the part of the show that Marcus and I do a rapid fire recall of the most ridiculous, the most ratchet moments in pop culture this past week. Marcus, how about you go first?
Okay, dokie. So just this is not a ridiculous and or ratchet, but a very emotional, and that's why I had to put in a Wu Chow. Roger Federer's official retirement. I know we talked about it last week, but the
Yeah.
Laver Cup is happening, and it was not a dry eye in the house, honey, when they played them videos at the opening ceremony. Had everybody, all the players crying, had all the greats there on the men's side of the ATP tour. Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Federer, all of those guys were there, and all of them were crying. And there's a video of
Was
it that you
TFO
can
there?
catch on Twitter. TFO is there, but he's not considered one of like the big players yet. So
Oh,
still
he's
up and
so
coming.
he's not big enough. Even though he was the
He's
first,
not.
even though he was the he's one of the first black men to come back after Arthur Ashe for the Open.
Mhm.
Wow.
And this is a great, this is a great start, but he's nowhere near any of them. No,
Wow.
he is not even
He
won a
was
Grand
there.
Slam
Was he
yet.
crying?
All of I don't know because we didn't see him.
Mm.
So he'll get there. He'll absolutely get there, but he wasn't there
Y'all
yet.
know I'm
When
not gonna die
I'm
on this
naming like
TFO.
greats.
TFO is my hill to
You
die on
really
in
are.
tennis.
I love that you're riding for him so hard. I love it.
Because you tried to just downplay this poor
Ain't
black
nobody trying
man
to downplay
2
it.
episodes ago, but we're gonna move on. Okay, well that's
We're gonna move
definitely a
on.
Wu Chow.
So I just wanted to say that again, like, so they played a lot of the highlights from Roger's career, and obviously, you know, Nadal and Djokovic have been a huge part of that because they've been the big three for a very long time and have been very competitive on the Grand Slam stage, and so it was nice to just kind of see Roger get his due, get his flowers, and it was very emotional. And we're gonna miss him, and he is another goat in the tennis arena. So Wu Chow. Woo child. Getting emotional
Wu Chow.
myself. Woo. All
Okay.
right, what do you got?
need a minute?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. I don't know if you've heard
No, I'm
about
okay.
the stuff with Tory Lanez and August Alsina.
Girl, woo fucking child. Do I
So,
even, you know, both of these niggas, I do
well,
not even
no, let me
care
tell you
for in
about
the
this. And I think that
slightest.
this is interesting because this is a example of when keeping it real goes wrong.
Hello.
And I think it's definitely worth us unpacking a little bit. So for those who don't know, this past week in Chicago was the Fall Back in Love Music Fest and Comedy Jam. Rip Michaels, who's a popular comedian around the city, led this, and both Tory Lanez and August Alsina were on the bill to perform. Backstage, in a moment of, I guess they were kind of August Alsina was, I guess, maybe heading to his dressing room, heading to the stage or whatever. But there's a part, and it's caught on film, where both entourages, August Alsina's and Tory Lanez, cross paths.
I did see that.
Now,
yeah.
what happens in this is that Tory Lanez sees August Alsina extends his hand out to like, dap him up or whatever like that. And August Alsina does a very visible like diss, does not extend his hand back out and just kind of keeps walking. At which point Tory Lanez is like, WTF, and the security guards and all of that are happening. It's like, well, like what's going on? So from that, it appears, and this part is actually not caught on camera, but it appears as though that when Tory Lanez went back and saw August Alsina again later on that evening, he punched August Alsina in the face. Now, what it's been described
Was that
from
even
what's been
necessary?
described from August Alsina's perspective is that it was a sucker punch. He was like, it was a sucker punch,
That's
and I didn't see it coming, and he's mad about this. But August Alsina maintains that he did not reach out to Tory Lanez or did not, dap him up because of things that Tory Lanez had said previously about him. Tory
right.
Lanez had already
Keep that
made
same energy.
he had made comments about August Alsina's involvement with Jada Pinkett. I think he even alluded to it in a song. There's a song, I think it's called "We Paid." Yes, we paid. Um, with the Lil Baby and 42 Doug, and he's like, I think the quote is let me start fucking on Jada. I ain't gonna snitch like August. So I think from that, and then also, Tory Lanez has also been in the news for other stuff as well. And so, August Alsina's like, I guess I'm not Team Tory right now, in which Tory went back and did that. What's so funny is from the footage, as soon as the diss happens, I think, there's a young lady who's around and she sees Tory Lane's face and she's like, don't do it, Tory. You already done shot Megan. And like that was, to me, while that situation is not funny, it was like, her trying to be the conscience of Tory Lanez in that moment was funny. Um, what is most interesting to me is that Tory Lanez is trying to basically act like nothing happened. So the day after the event, in which he hit August Alsina, he was on a call. He was on some kind of maybe a show or live with DJ Academics, who is problematic and been in the
Plenty.
news this week for a whole bunch of other stuff.
Plenty.
I can't even get on DJ Academics this week alone. He's been effing up left and right. But with this, he's like, nothing happened. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. I don't know what August is talking about. He said I punched him. He doubled down and went on his IG story and was like, I don't know what everybody is talking about, but I've been in the studio and I'm not in anything negative. I've been working on
Is he
myself and being a better person. I'm sure he's I'm sure he doesn't want this to happen right now because there's already a lot of heat happening with him in the
right?
whole Megan situation. So this is going to be just an added piece to
He's
that.
clearly something's wrong with him. Is he like something? There's some issues here.
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. August Alsina seems to believe that Tory Lanez was smoking that night on a blunt that was laced with cocaine. He went on to say that too.
And so
That he
he's
saw
saying that
that.
he just made up the whole story of
So
him hitting him.
Tory Lanez is saying yes, that he does know that did not happen. Now, hopefully he'll come back and be like, okay, y'all, like this is what happened. I lost my cool.
I mean, there's video
but
evidence of the altercation.
woo child. Well, there's not video
but like
evidence
of
of
the
him
scuffle
hitting
afterwards
him.
and beforehand, because I saw it.
So yeah, there's a video of him like kind of walking back through that same hallway, and he was like, "Oh, you knocked him out." And like people are like kind of like egging him on in that sense, but he's like, "Did nobody see? Did you see me hit anybody? Did you see me shoot anybody?"
Woo child.
It's like if you didn't see it, it didn't happen. It's definitely a
Oh
woo
my
child.
gosh. Okay, are we ready to move on? So
Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
talk about. Have you seen this KTLA drama with the
I
two news
did.
anchors that were on the weekend newscast?
Yep.
So
Yes.
apparently, Mark Mester and Lynette Romero were the weekend anchors for the morning show on KTLA, which was very, very popular. Was a very popular morning news program. And Lynette Romero, I was reading yesterday, had been there for like 24 years and then just abruptly was not on the desk anymore. And people were starting to wonder why. And then I think a day later, an entertainment reporter just read a statement from the news station saying that Lynette had departed and we wish her all the best and blah 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 blah. You know, like companies do or whatever, trying to save face. And so her co-anchor Mark
Yeah.
Mester, I guess, didn't want to be quiet anymore and decided to kind of take matters into his own hands a little bit and address the issue head on the newscast and was like, first of all, I mean, basically y'all heard a part of it in the intro, but it was basically like, this is unacceptable, it's unprofessional, it's disgraceful. Lynette did not get a chance to say goodbye, and she's been here for 24 years, and just basically going on this impromptu, unscripted rant about what really happened and how the station wasn't letting her say goodbye and how they did her wrong. And sure enough, the next day he got suspended, and now it's come out that they fired him. And so now both of the anchors are gone, and this has caused a huge spotlight on KTLA now because people are upset and people are deleting their apps and saying they're not going to watch KTLA no more because they've been done wrong. And what do you think about this?
When keeping it real
No,
goes
this
wrong, Mark Mester said he wanted to come up and he said, "I'm going to uh I need to speak out on behalf of my friend," and they said, "Well, you can get your
so
ass out
the
too."
tough thing, I will say this, the tough thing about working in news, having worked in news, is that when major life incidents or life updates happen or major departures happen, they kind of like force you into a little bit of a gag order, and you're not allowed to say anything because the messaging has to come from the
Mhm.
station, or the messaging has to appear like everybody's on the same page, even if you're not. And I think, after a
Yeah.
24-year storied career, like I was looking back at a lot of the clips of Lynette, and like Lynette's wedding was on KTLA. Like Lynette's first child was on KTLA. Like there were all these major
Mhm.
life moments that happened to her. And for her to not even get a chance to say goodbye, or for the station to treat her like that, it's just kind of shitty. It's kind of shitty. And
I think it is shitty. I don't know if it was Mark's place in that moment to say, "Let me, since y'all want to do my friend dirty, let me air out exactly what happened and how it went down." And so I think that what happened to Lynette was not okay, but how Mark handled it ended up costing him his
it
job
ended
too.
up costing him his job, but do I disagree with what he did? No, because he didn't do it like immediately after. Like he waited a few days and was trying to see, like, was the station going to like make a formal official announcement? And plus, I also think it was a smack in the face to let some random entertainment reporter at the station break the news instead of him. Like if that's my co-anchor and we've been on air together for 10 plus years or whatever, why wouldn't I be the one to break the news and say, hey, Lynette is leaving?
Do we know why she got like? Do we know like what the
Well, they're
reason was
not
why she got
saying, and
let go?
allegedly there was another opportunity that she
Yikes!
wanted to pursue, and I guess they weren't willing to work with her on that and decided to just let her
Yikes!
go. And then they're saying in the statement that they gave her the opportunity to say that she was leaving and that she declined. So I don't know if we'll get all of the full details, but
Mm.
apparently something else is going on, because based off of Mark's reaction and how he described this departure, this seems like that there was some other stuff going on behind the scenes that they did her dirty on.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like there was a way that he could have did this and got his feelings out in another way, maybe another medium? Could he did it like on like IG live? Could he have went and did it somewhere rather than the actual
No,
newscast?
because I think the reason why they fired him is because I'm sure he's got a contract and he went against the station's needs, because I don't think they would have allowed him to speak anywhere, whether it be on social media or anything like that, because all of that is part of a contract when you're on air. Like you have to present yourself a certain way, and there's things you can and can't say if they reflect poorly on the station. And so I don't think that we're going to allow him to speak at all. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm on Mark's side, is because again, I think they were trying to.
Do you think he knew he would be
Yeah,
fired?
absolutely. I think if he would have spoken, I think regardless
So
of whether or not it was,
he knew that he was
no,
going to
I'm
be
saying
fired
regardless of whether or
from
not he
by doing
spoke
that.
out on air or on social media, they would have fired him anyway.
No, 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 no. That's not what I'm asking. I'm saying, like, do you think that he knew that by coming onto the news and doing that right there, how he did it from that clip that we just heard, do you think that he knew what
Oh,
the
absolutely,
consequences were going to be?
absolutely, absolutely. He
He was
knew.
going to be fired.
And he did, and that's why again I'm on his side. Like he knew that he was probably going to get because he was already suspended. They already suspended him for it, and so I'm sure he knew when he was doing it that it was like there's going to be some major consequences. And I think, honestly, like I said, I'm sure we don't know everything that happened behind the scenes, but I'm sure he reached out to Lynette, and him and Lynette
Yeah.
spoke, and he was like, "Look, I'm about to go on air and let the chopper sing. I'm riding with you until the wheels fall off, and if that means I lose my job, then I lose my job." So woo child.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just it definitely seems like
Definitely
some
Wu
other stuff
Chow.
went down, and so I will be intrigued to kind of see.
I don't know the
Yeah,
full story, and I just know that I just saw
yeah.
the clip of him going, of him going off, and so I was like, "Ooh, like baby, you gotta." I
It's-
don't know. I mean, he's stacked up. He'll be fine. He'll
I'm
be
sure he'll
fine.
be
He's
fine.
young. He's in a really great market. He'll be able to go and to do something
I'm
just as
sure.
good,
I just think a lot of people don't know that like
maybe.
when you're
Maybe.
on these shows and on these sets and you find somebody that you have really good chemistry with and you have a good show, like you become family. Like you spend a lot of time together, because I mean, especially on a morning show or something like that, you're at the station, you're having to cover breaking news and all of this stuff. And so you absolutely become family with some of these people that you work
Well, let me
well
tell
with.
you this, honey. Let me tell you this. Some people that wasn't, because I don't know who spoke out on Tamara Hall's behalf,
About what?
or when she got let go. Remember when she
Well,
got
see,
let go for
NBC did
that?
her
Remember it was
dirty.
that
They
real
did her
bogus thing?
dirty.
Yeah, they did her dirty, but didn't nobody say nothing for baby
Because
girl?
they couldn't.
They said, "I'm gonna keep this
They
job."
couldn't. Or they was gonna
They
be
said,
right
"I'm gonna."
out the door
They
with
said, "I'm
her.
gonna keep
Hell
this
yeah.
job." But yeah, I mean, Mark, do your thing. It's unfortunate they now that they both unemployed, but hey, y'all still
Woo
friends.
child.
Woo
What else you
child.
got?
I want to do an update. I 2 weeks ago I reported on the story with Tiffany Haddish
Oh
and Ari
yeah.
Spears, who were under fire for the suit that had come of them for the sexual abuse, like the child sexual abuse
Hmm.
lawsuit. Well, earlier this week we learned that the actual lawsuit was dropped by the plaintiff, who has chosen to remain anonymous. She's going by Jane Doe. So they have dropped the lawsuit, in which Tiffany and Ari Spears were both named for um, doing behaviors that resemble grooming,
It
and
was a
sexual
settlement,
harassment of
wasn't it?
children. Now, with this,
That's what it
no,
said in the
no, no, no.
video.
She's completely. It might have been a settlement, but it's now that's just been dropped. That, as reported by BuzzFeed News, is that the plaintiff has dropped her lawsuit.
Yeah, because in the TMZ video,
So maybe they did. Maybe they did settle
yeah.
out of court. I don't know exactly what. If they did, I don't know any. I don't see anything here about what the settlement was or anything that was included in it. But now the lawsuit is dropped. What is interesting about this now is that Tiffany Haddish, who's been, people are asking her how does she feel about this, and she's come out and she's been very open and saying, like, all of my gigs are gone because of this. And I think that I think that with cancel culture like this, yeah, it definitely will happen. This is not something that people want to stick to and people even want to take chances with, regardless if it's proven, regardless if it's just talk. But yeah, I'm sure that there are endorsements, jobs, things that she had lined up that people are like now looking at her sideways, or being at least a little cautious to do business with her. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I kind of feel a little bad because I mean, and then I kind of don't because she said she lost everything. She said her whole team dropped her, like she don't have anything.
I don't know if it I mean, I know she said that. I don't know. I don't know to what extent, like, what she had going. We'll never know that. Like, the irons that she had in the fire. I do feel like she'll be able to come back
I
from
would hope
this. I felt
so.
like this was a situation in which this was like this was kind of wrapped up in a matter of
Yeah.
months, and not something that has gone on for
And the
years.
fact that it
And
was
because it has
dismissed.
been dropped, yeah. So I don't see anything about a settlement in here. I'm looking,
I
but
was referencing the
uh,
TMZ video where they caught up with her and asked her how she was, and
because if it is a settlement, that also could speak to some
right. That's
maybe
why I was confused. I
like
was
I
like, was
did,
it dismissed or was there an actual
So
settlement?
I don't see anything about a settlement in here, um, but the only it's just saying that the plaintiff dropped her
Gotcha.
lawsuit. So I do think that she'll be able to come back from this. I think Tiffany Haddish is one of those comedians that was everywhere for a little bit, and I think because of the things that she's done and the resume that she's been able to create, she will be able to she'll be able to take maybe take a quick break and then come back and get back to business as
Ooh,
usual.
child. Well, I mean,
Definitely Wu
you
Chow.
gotta be careful. I was talking to somebody else the other day, and I was like, I know when you're up and coming and you're trying to book work and taking every maybe not every opportunity is a great opportunity, and so being a little more decisive about the gigs and stuff you take when you're first starting out, um, will maybe help you not have to go down this path once you do hit it big in the future.
Well, just being decisive, and then also just kind of like being mindful of how you interact
That
with
too.
people. Like that was, one of the things that was interesting, and this is kind of like this is a small tangent, but Steve Harvey, do you remember like when all of that came out about him of how he runs his sets of like nobody can come
Yeah.
speak to me, do not approach me. Like if you have something to say, you say it to my team and they get it
Yeah.
to me. And I mean, that is one way to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all of this coming out right now.
I don't know about
And
all of that.
people,
I don't know.
no, I mean, I think that that is one way to protect yourself. Like, you have to be very mindful about that, like, of just what could be a joke, what could be, um, you've been on a set. You know how things go. There's downtime. Like people want to hang out, people want to joke, and there are things that could happen, and anyone can misconstrue your words, take it the wrong way. Um,
So stay in your trailer.
and
Stay in
so
your trailer and mind your business. I feel like when you're on set and it's your set,
I do know there are people that do that.
I feel
Yeah.
like when it's your set and like you're the star of the show, you kind of set the bar, set the energy. And so if it's not a friendly, opening, welcoming workspace, people are going to talk about you anyway and be upset and be mad.
But some people, but do you want to have that friendly, open, anybody can like open door
I
policy
don't
kind
think
of
you need to
thing,
do all
and
of
then that gets
that.
you into a
I
situation?
don't think you need to do all of that, but you
Yeah.
at least need to be like, I mean, it's to me, it's a little much to be like, can't nobody speak to me like you speak to blah 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 blah. Like, if you're on set and these are people that you see daily, if not weekly, if you're on a talk show, we were talking about cameramen, writers, producers, people like that that you directly interact with, and to say that they can't speak to you, I think that's a little stupid.
I don't know. I think you got to be cautious.
I don't know. Woo chow, whatever. You have anything else on this?
I do. Do you have? Oh no, nothing else on
Okay, I
this.
got one more because we got to
You
talk
go
about
to your
Adam
next one. Yeah.
Levine.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, first off, did you see this? I mean, I ain't really care, but I guess
I've heard about it. I heard about Adam Levine.
so. I mean, the big headline is just Adam Levine is accused of cheating on wife Bahati Prinsloo. You know, Bahati Prinsloo was this model. They got married. They have a child. I think they're like pregnant with another child, aren't they?
Hmm.
Right now or
And you know who
something.
he wanted to name the baby
Say
after.
what?
And you know who he wanted to name the baby after.
Who?
His jump off.
Huh?
Yes, he wanted to name the baby Christine. Yes.
I cannot.
Girl, it's a whole
I
thing. It's a
cannot.
whole mess. And Adam is foul.
So I'm looking at Us Weekly, and it's basically talking about how Sumner Stroh was the first to publicly accuse Levine of allegedly sending her flirtatious messages, and that she's a University of Texas alum, and she posted them on TikTok, which I saw. And then the model claimed that Levine manipulated her into a relationship, and she was like, "At the time, I was young, I was naive." And then Adam's talking about, did I basically released a statement saying, did I send flirtatious messages? Yes. And was that probably inappropriate? Yes. And did it stop there? Yes. And basically saying that and saying that it didn't, there was no affair. It stopped at
I
flirtatious
don't know about all
exchanges.
that.
What did you see?
No, I mean, I don't know if it stopped there. That's what I'm saying. It's like I didn't, and let me be honest, I didn't see him and her together. I didn't see them fucking. I didn't see nothing, but something tells me that it did not stop at just flirtatious messages. I do not believe that for 1 second. I think that Adam Levine, just like a lot of these celebrities, are people that have um a lot of eyes, a lot of attention on them, and I think that he leverages that whenever he wants to.
So going back to your statement. So it was the wrong name, but read this. It says, Stroh later revealed that Levine got back in touch before Prinslow's September 2022 pregnancy announcement to ask if he could use the name Sumner for the pair's third child.
Oh, it was
Get
Sumner.
the
I thought it was
fuck
Christine.
out
My
of
bad.
here.
I'm telling you, it was crazy. My bad. I thought it was Christine,
Get
but
out
it's
of
actually
here.
okay. It's Sumner.
You've got to be
Yeah,
joking.
I no, and that's where my foot went crazy. And so you trying to tell me that it stopped there is like now you're out of
So
control.
you want to
You're
use
stupid.
your
You
fling's
want me to
name
believe?
for your baby,
Yeah, yeah.
allegedly.
Hmm.
What? I did not see that. What? Like
Yeah, girl, you gotta look.
this
You gotta read
so
now because it's in there.
this reminds me, and we've talked, you said you didn't remember this, but this reminds me of the Justin Timberlake thing where Justin Timberlake was on set with what was, I don't think her name was, I don't think it was Gugu, but it was one of the black actresses, and they was awfully handsy and friendly and got caught on camera, and he had to make an
Okay.
announcement saying that, oh no, we're on the set of the movie, and did I use poor judgment, and we had a lot to drink, and did we like hang out? Yes, but nothing else happened, and he was married, he's married to Jessica. This sounds very similar to that.
But see, that's what I'm saying, Marks. That's what you on these sets. You have to be able to. I think the way to protect it is don't nobody come talk to me. I see what Steve Harvey talk about now. Don't come talk to me, please. Don't. Like I don't have time for any of
So
this.
you'd rather be an asshole on set than to be liked by everybody.
I think I would have to.
What?
I think I would have to because there's no. I mean, there is just too much out there, and there's not to say that not to say that Adam Levine or Justin Timberlake or that they're a victim of this circumstance. No, I'm not saying that. I think that they both definitely had a hand in whatever they were accused of doing, but it's just like, yeah, those things happen all the time.
I don't know. I feel like that's an easy way to be deemed hard to work with or
Well,
bad attitude on set. They always like to start those
not bad
rumors.
attitude. I'm very nice, very pleasant. Just
How would anybody
we have
know?
there is a there's a procedure
A
in
process.
how we communicate.
Woo
Yeah,
chow.
that's what it is.
So Adam, I don't know what you're gonna do about this. I don't know if you're gonna say anything else. I honestly don't care. But apparently a lot of other women have come out as well and said that they've also had relationships with
Yeah.
him. So it ain't looking good, girl. I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
Woo chow.
Definitely Wu
You
Chow.
got anything else?
Speaking of niggas cheating.
Huh?
Speaking of niggas cheating, Ime Udoka or
Did
Udoka,
he cheat?
he is the head coach of the Boston Celtics, and he has been in a long time relationship with Nia Long.
Nia
They actually have a
Long.
son, and they've been engaged since like 2015. I don't know why this engagement is so long, but I guess we now know. But
Hmm.
Ime Udoka was suspended from the Celtics earlier this week for having an inappropriate, they're calling it an inappropriate but consensual relationship with a female staff member on the Boston Celtics. Yes. No word on how long this has been going on. Ime says, "I'm sorry for putting the team in this difficult situation, and I accept the team's decision." Um, this came all after his suspension. Um, Now what we have a problem with. I don't have a problem with you get suspended. That's probably gonna happen, whatever. But you cheating on Nia Long of all people. Nia the Long. And that's what Black Twitter just was up in arms about. And so, like I said, they have a 10-year-old son. They've been together for quite some time, but everyone is kind of coming out in support of Nia Long for this. Someone tweeted, um, cheating on Nia Long, end of days has to be up on us because ain't no way. Uh this is definitely tough, right? She took to social media to thank everyone later this week. The outpouring of love and support from family, friends, and the community during this difficult time means so much to me. I ask that my privacy be respected as much as I process the recent events. Above all, I'm a mother and will continue to focus on my children. Um,
This just goes to tell you, being pretty is not enough. Being pretty is no
it's
longer
definitely
enough.
not enough. I mean, because they out here,
Pretty hurts. Being
and
pretty
niggas
is not
gonna do
enough.
right. What happened to black men don't cheat? Uh, yeah. So they suspended him for the entire season of 2022-2023. I don't know how sports work, but he's gone. And I think for this, I'm not sure exactly what will happen there. I mean, we don't. What do you think will happen with Nia and Ime?
They're not gonna be
You think she's
together.
gonna
They
leave him?
split it. They split up.
Well, I mean, they haven't split, but this is definitely a Wu Child situation, which a split might be coming.
I mean, at the end of the day, like if Beyonce can get cheated on, if Nia Long can get cheated on, there ain't no hope for nobody else. Ain't no hope. Ain't no hope. I mean,
Child,
pretty is
don't
not
say that.
enough. You are gonna have to come to the table with something more than just looks, because clearly
But I mean, that's the thing. You can come to the table with anything. Hell, you can come to the table with millions and millions of dollars and looks and all of that, and it's just not going to stop you.
it's not
I
gonna be
think,
enough.
yeah, for all of the ups and downs that they've been through, and like I said, this long engagement, which I'm never a fan of
Since
long engagements,
2015, yeah.
but maybe but we'll
Hmm.
see exactly what happens here.
Ooh,
Ooh, child.
child. That's
Well,
unfortunate.
that's it for me. Let's take a break here, and when we come back, we will do our spotlight shows of the week. This week, I'm doing Under the Banner of Heaven. Marcus, what are you doing this week?
This week I am I was gonna say a filler show. It's not a filler show. I enjoyed it, but it was a
Uh
very,
oh.
very short mini series. But I'm gonna do I Am Groot on Disney Plus just because I am still finishing up some other shows that I want to talk about. So let's get it.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. So we will be back with our spotlight shows of the week. All right, and we are back. It's time for our spotlight shows of the week. This week, I am covering FX Under the Banner of Heaven.
I've heard about
This
this.
is yeah. So this miniseries follows the story of it's a true crime series of the 1984 killing of Brenda Lafferty and her infant daughter Erica Lafferty. It's set in Utah, 1984, and a lot of things ensue. Now, when you hear the title Under the Banner of Heaven, of course you think it's going to have some probably religious undertones, but this is heavily focused on religion. With it being set in Utah, it really goes and dives deep into Mormonism as well as LDS culture. LDS is Latter Day Saints. I'm not exactly sure the marriage of it of how it happens with all of the characters in this series, but the lead, who's played by Andrew Garfield, Detective Jeb Pyrie, is a practicing Mormon and is also a detective trying to uncover this mystery. Um, I'll do my initial thoughts for this. I was not. I think I was not expecting how deep it goes into religion. And so, right up against it as a subplot, we learn about the history of Mormonism and how it came to be, and its travel throughout the U.S. And officially landing into Utah, and how the founders used religion as well as intimidation and um, I'll say I won't say violence. Well, no, I guess I will say violence and violence um, to basically call out their to call out people who are not abiding by the faith correctly.
Hmm.
Um, the the story is it's pretty difficult, in which Brenda and her daughter were actually killed. Both had their throats slit um in their home. Yes. And
Jesus.
we we finally learned that it was at the hands of her brother-in-law. Um this was all because the brothers belonged to this family, belonged to a very tight sect of Mormonism, called the School of Prophets. And so one of the things I learned, I'll say that another initial thought is I learned so much about another religion, which I think for me, I haven't always gone out and like sought to like learn more about other religions, which something I need to change. I feel like I need to just like know more. But this one is like, it really kind of broke down Mormonism and how there are these certain sects of people that really practice and follow the Bible from what it says, like specifically, and like full out, like follow it to the actual word. There's other Mormons who kind of take it and interpret it, and how much Mormonism has changed. Mormonism was not always um, for people of color, which is something I also learned in this story. And I think it's very tough to kind of mirror up against 2022's life, right? Which I mean, I couldn't see this series being told in today's time just
Right.
because of how difficult some of the subject matter is. But Brenda Lafferty, who is one of the characters in the show, is speaking out against Mormonism, and is basically trying to say that, how they are interpreting the Bible, how they are interpreting the religion is not necessarily the way it's intended, and that the religion has evolved from that time of the School of Prophets. Well, that eventually leads to her demise, as well as Andrew Garfield's character, who has this um, he kind of has this moment of this tug of war of, he is a man of faith, but he's also seeing how this faith is breaking families apart and killing people. And so what he has to do in maintaining his responsibilities as a practicing Mormon and being over his family, but while also finding out who the killer is and what what that digs up for the Mormon church.
Hmm.
um Overall, I think Andrew Garfield did an incredible job as Detective Jed Pyrie. I would say he got an Emmy nomination for this, which I would say is definitely well due.
I agree.
And they also got a TCA nomination for Outstanding Miniseries. I'm not familiar with the TCAs, but those were that was the critical acclaim that it has received. One of the one of the themes that I kind of wanted to explore with you is, um, as I spoke, this tug of war between your religion and what you have to do versus like your actual job. And that's where Andrew Garfield's character really rests this season. He's in this tug of war. There's a point in which he's actually has to interview members and leaders in the Mormon church, and they're telling him to stop the investigation. They're basically saying like, you need to stop it here. Um, and there doesn't need to be any further digging into, what the School of Prophets are, what
Which is
Mormonism
wild.
is, that type of thing. What do you feel like, and mind you, this is set in 1984, but what do you feel like evolves from um a person's a person's faith as they mature and as they get, as they become clearer about about the world outside their religion? Um, have you had any like personal experience with that, um, in which you've kind of had to question faith?
No, I've never really been like, I went to church a lot as a child, but I mean, I feel like once you get out into the world and experience a lot of different things, it definitely makes you question uh what you've been taught growing up and what you've been exposed to growing
Yeah,
up, because I mean you start to hell, I've met plenty of nicer people who don't subscribe to a religion or a faith than I do those who call themselves Christians or anything else under the banner of heaven. And
Oh,
so
that was cute.
it's
Um,
very yeah, it's very touch and go for sure.
yeah, I think I the reason why this series kind of struck a chord with me is because I think that there was a time in which I did come to question um certain aspects of my religion, of my faith,
Right.
as I
Yeah.
started to become more of a um practicing homosexual and
Say that
started
again.
to started to learn more about started to learn more about like what it actually means and how to interpret um Bible and scripture for what it actually is. This series have relies heavily on interpretation of scripture and exactly what it means to be devout and to be faithful um, to God. And the reason why Brenda was actually murdered is because she was seen as someone who was not being devout, who was not being faithful to her family, to her husband, to her God. And
This sounds like a
they
cult.
they tie all of these things into one. Now, that would be what you just said. That would be one of my maybe critiques of the series is that I don't know if it gave enough of the other side of Mormonism for us to be able to look at this objectively.
Right.
And I think because of the heinous acts that are committed here in the series that we see actually play out on camera, um it could be this is definitely not something that you want to show the Mormons in your life. Like, this is something that I think I would be interested to hear what someone from this faith actually thinks about this show, because it does not portray Mormonism in a positive light at all to me.
Mm. It sounds
um
like a cult, but I will say that I agree. I'm a fan of Andrew Garfield, and so I've become a bigger fan of him in recent years and some of the work that he's done. And so it's nice to see him in something like this because he can not only can he do action and stuff like we've seen, but he can
yeah,
also do a serious role very well too.
so that was my main critique. I felt like they did not do enough division between actual Mormons and what we became to know as the School of Prophets, who were this like
Hmm.
very extreme Mormon fire and brimstone group of people. And I think it would have been fair to spell that a little bit more out for viewers who might not be as familiar with the religion. And I'm speaking about myself because I'm not as familiar with
Me
it.
too. Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but I think a couple of other things that I do want to note. I really enjoyed her name is Daisy Edgar Jones. She actually plays Brenda Lafferty in this. She had really great performances from her. And then the other one, I don't see him. I'm missing him right now. They don't have. I'm like on the IMDb DB page trying to figure out who my other cast member is. I'm not exactly sure of his name, but I see him in everything. But he was
Hmm.
basically the sidekick to Andrew Garfield throughout this, and he was
Like as a police officer.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Um, and I thought that he was incredible as well. Why is he not getting billing in this?
You may have to scroll all the way down depending on what episode he came, because I think they list them by episode appearance on IMDb. That's why it
He was
took me so long for the Sandman.
child. He was definitely in every episode, but I'm not able to find him. He's the father of Jacob in Twilight, or the grandfather of Jacob in Twilight.
I think I know who you're talking about,
Yes.
but I don't remember his name.
I don't know his name either. I was trying to give him a quick little shout out, but I can't pull up his name right now. He's not on the IMDb. Um Racism. But I wanted to say that he also did an incredible job um of acting, and there was some physical stuff that he did in here that I thought was also really cool um in the show. So like he had some like physical ailments that he did that was really nice. Overall, I think it was a am I gonna say good? I don't. I'm gonna say it was a
1 to 10,
memorable
what are you giving?
miniseries. It was a memorable miniseries. If I had to give it a 1 out of 10, I would probably say I would probably give it a 5.
Really?
It was really halfway there for me because, like I
Mm.
said, I think a couple of the things so like I said, the subplot is directly the history of Mormonism. So they'll bounce back from like 1984 to like I don't know what year, 1600s. Like, and so that always ended up throwing me off when watching it. And then I also think that they did not do enough justice into dividing the two schools of Mormon, or how many sects of Mormonism are there, which I
Hmm.
thought would have been a little bit better because this family was out of control, the Laffertys. But like I said, overall, I probably would give this a 5. I would not watch it again. It's hard to get through. It really is hard to get through. Lots very religious, lots of scripture and things that you kind of have to like dissect to see where it's going.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I will not be watching if you're giving it a 5, so you ain't gonna
yeah.
go back yet.
I'm giving this a 5. Um, and I feel confident in that 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, so that's it for me. If you do want to check this out, you can stream Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu as well. If you don't have cable, so feel free to check it out.
And where does it originally premiere? Where did it
FX,
originally premiere? HBO? FX.
FX.
FX. FX. Okay. All righty. Well, let's take another break. And I guess I'm coming back with mine. Mine's gonna be very short. We ain't
Uh
gonna
oh,
spend too much time on it because I just wanted to
here we
highlight it.
go.
But I'm gonna talk about I Am Groot.
Not these warnings. Okay,
Huh?
I said giving us these warnings.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it. Like, it was cute. It was very short. We'll talk about it. We'll be right back.
All right.
Hey, all right, we are back, and it is time for my TV show spotlight of the week. And I
Shortest
just wanted to
spotlight ever.
highlight, huh?
I said it's about to be the shortest spotlight ever.
I've maybe done one shorter because remember I did Resident Evil, and I only watched like an episode and was like, it's a
Oh,
chop.
okay.
Don't even bother.
Go ahead.
But anyways, I wanted to talk about I Am Groot on Disney Plus. It came out a little bit ago, so I mean it's not necessarily brand new, but it was a show that I did want to highlight because it is a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so it was worth mentioning. But it's basically just a quick little mini series. It's got 6 short episodes. Episode 1 is entitled Groot's First Steps. Episode 2, The Little Guy. Episode 3, Groot's Pursuit. Episode 4, takes Groot takes a bath. Actually, 5 episodes. And episode 5, Groot's magnum opus. And it's basically just a quick little adventure for the character Groot, who I'm assuming if most of you are, or if any of you are Marvel fans, you'll know that Groot is a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in the first movie, second movie, a bunch of different spin-offs, and Infinity War, Endgame, all of that jazz. And so this is basically taking a look at the time span when Groot was a baby after having to be reborn from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of follows Groot on these little adventures as the Guardians are on these adventures of their own, and just kind of um, highlights Groot as a character a little bit more than what we've seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy and or Infinity War and Endgame. And so it's a fun, quick watch.
How
It's
long
a
are the
part of this
episodes?
push that Disney say what?
How long are the episodes?
Like barely 5 to 10 minutes. Very, very
Oh,
short. It's a mini series.
so you
Yeah,
could
they're
literally
they're like
watch this
shorts.
in 5 minutes
I
or an
did.
hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
You watched this right
I,
before you
I
got on to record.
No, so when I did
Yeah.
when I did watch, it literally took me like an hour and a half, or
Okay.
if that, because it was 5 episodes at like 5 to 10 minutes apiece, and so I was like, oh, this
Okay.
is a quick watch. Let me check these out. And so that's why I said it's not a lot to talk about, but again, it's worth mentioning because it's a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is canon. It's canon.
Okay.
So And so yeah, and so it's something cute to watch out. The cast, a lot of the main cast is coming back. There's a lot of additional voice actors, but Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper as Rocket the raccoon, and then Vin Diesel as Groot. They are both reprising their roles in this, and so I'll be very interested to see what if they take anything from this, because I also watched Thor Love and Thunder over this past weekend finally because it was on Disney Plus. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And Groot was in that for a little bit, for a small span, but it was just very, so I'll be very intrigued to kind of see where they go with the character of Groot, especially with the third Guardians of the Galaxy film coming up and being the last one in this kind of series for Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure some of those characters will go on to integrate into other properties, but the Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they're going to end after this third movie. And so it'll be very interesting to kind of see where Groot ends up with Rocket, and if we get any more history on where exactly Groot comes from and what kind of alien or species he is, stuff like that. But I just say all of that to say, take a look if you're into Marvel stuff. It's a quick watch. It's on Disney Plus now. And they've got some holiday stuff too. I think there's going to be a holiday Guardians of the Galaxy special that will also have these characters in there as well. And so that's something to look out for. Did your old man watch these by any chance?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe watch them like, on the way to work or something. I don't know. But I don't remember
I didn't know
seeing
if you had like accidentally stumbled upon one or not. So
No, I
said
haven't. But if this is as short as you say it is, I might give it a quick little watch if it's that good.
I know you don't like animated stuff.
I
though,
do not
child,
like
so,
animated.
I mean, so you may not. It is animated.
Oh,
It's
okay. So maybe animated. Not for me, but that's okay.
So,
hey.
I mean, there's a live action component in there, but it's an animated series. So
I like Encanto.
I figured you might not be into it.
I like.
Say what?
I said I like Encanto. That's animated. Encanto. That's animated.
Not Encanto. I like the Encanto.
I like that one. It's animated. So hey.
Yeah. But that's all I had. There was, like I said, it was a quick TV show spotlight. I would definitely say watch it if you're interested in it and into the MCU canon. You can find it on Disney Plus. 5 episodes. They're all up now.
So our shows weren't that good this week. Neither one of us really liked our show. I mean, my show was okay. It's just, it's very dense.
Well, so I mean, to be clear, sometimes there are shows that we're just on the fence about, but like there's a lot of TV that we're watching right now, so there's some really good shows that we'll definitely be talking about once they end. Trust me, because I definitely want to talk about House of the Dragon when it ends, and then when I get to Rings of Power.
Are you caught up with House of the Dragon yet?
Can we?
Because last week you weren't.
Okay. So I'm full caught up. Because that was full on mid-season finale. That was a mid-season finale.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
4 and 5 were both crazy.
Can we talk? I know this was supposed to be my TV show spotlight, but before we go back to break, can we talk about how the Joffrey, the epitome, spoiler, but the epitome of you should have just sat there and ate your food.
Yeah.
You should just be quiet. You would have gone further in life.
That's what happens.
Had you have just been quiet.
When keeping it real goes wrong. I can already tell you what my final thoughts are going to be on this episode. When keeping it real goes wrong.
So do you watch the things at the end of each episode where the creators talk about each episode?
Oh, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
So I watch all of them, and it was very interesting for them to say, they were like, what we're witnessing is a live action chess match. Like, you are seeing all of these people put their pieces in place. And I can already tell the latter half of this season, shit's about to go down because we're getting a new cast. We're getting an older cast. And like the girls are going to be acting down. So I can already tell the shit's about to get real wild.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, all right, let's take another break. And when we come back, we'll get to our signature segment, Fizz-or-Flat.
We'll be right back. Okay.
What's up? Go for it. You do it. You can do it. Go for it.
You go ahead. You got it.
No, go ahead, girl. Do your show, girl.
We are back, and it is time for our signature segment of the podcast, Fizz or Flat. This is the part of the show where Marcus and I
Hello.
get to go over the top pop culture moments of the week, give them a fizz if we're feeling them, or a flat if we're not. I'm going to go first this week. Um, this one is a little bittersweet for me. I don't know if you saw, Marcus, the James Earl Jones Deadline article in which he is signing over
Yeah.
rights to his Darth Vader voice. Um,
Yeah.
this is sad. So this week,
He's getting
so
old.
James Earl Jones, who we, I mean, you might know as Mufasa, you might know as Darth Vader. He has had a very long career. But for Darth Vader, he's spent nearly 40 years as Darth Vader as projects have kind of come up. But
Icon.
he is now 91, and he has decided to sign over his rights to his voice as Darth Vader, um, so that the filmmakers can continue using it for future projects for Star Wars. Um, in his hopes, this will help keep Vader alive. Um, this is kind of sad for me. He started out in Star Wars, doing Star Wars in 1977, which is like
That's wild.
crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and now what the filmmakers are going to do is that they're going to take his voice and use AI technology so that they can just kind of recreate it for years and years to come.
That's kind of what they're doing now. That's what they did with Obi-Wan Kenobi in that
Yeah.
series. They kind of meshed his voice with Hayden Christensen's to kind of create Darth Vader's whole
So, I
character.
mean, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm getting nervous just because, like, we've had the theater named after him now on Broadway, and now we're doing this. It's like, yeah, we are getting to a spot where he's trying to, make sure that his legacy lives on, and I do love that, and I give it a fizz for that. But it's just sad that yeah, like he is retiring. He is retiring, at least from Star Wars anyway.
It's a fizz. I mean, he's an iconic voice, an
Yeah.
iconic character in the Star Wars canon. So, I mean, this is a good example of giving people their flowers while they're still
Yep.
here. Like, yes, name the theater after him. Yes, give him his coin for this legendary voice to
Yeah,
continue
now I want to
being
know what
used.
that
So,
money was.
it's
That's
a
what I want to
fizz.
know. What that money was, how
Oh,
much
he,
it
you
was.
know, he got
So
a good little
so
check.
yeah, I'm
You
really
know, he got a
interested to
good
see
check.
that.
So, it's a
Yeah,
fizz.
fizz for me too.
I you kind of brought this up earlier, and while I haven't watched, I wanted to put it on here because Niecy Nash hyphen Betts. I didn't know she was using her married name, last name, so I got to make sure I include that
Hmm.
now. Um, she's getting a lot of praise for this Dahmer series on Netflix. She was trending on social media, on Twitter and stuff when it
Mm,
premiered. And so I wanted to I've always been a fan of Niecy and everything that she's done. And so, just like Issa says, ain't nothing changed. I'm rooting for everybody black still.
hmm.
So I'm excited to kind of watch this and see her in some more serious roles. You know, she's a
Yeah,
comedic actress and has been very good. It's kind of the same vein as Regina Hall. You know, they've been widely known for these comedic roles, and now that they've started to kind of switch over into more serious stuff, you kind of get to see, no, these girls are talented. These girls know how to act. Yes, they're funny, but they also know how to carry a serious role. And so I'm excited to kind of see Niecy in this. And she's also got that
that's
show
what I was gonna
on
say. I was
CBS
like, I
called The
mean, yeah, I
Rookie.
was like, if y'all love Niecy, make sure y'all go support the Rookie Feds, which is her brand new show on
Yeah, her
ABC. It's
spinoff.
a brand new show on ABC, and
Is it
uh-huh,
ABC?
and
Okay.
her role in Dahmer is interesting. I will say that. So I've watched only the first episode. I hope that we see more from her. I think she would have,
I
I
think
think
we
we
do.
will see more from her, but her role in this is interesting. She is Jeffrey Dahmer's neighbor um in this. And so
Yeah,
she's she obviously has her complaints, right? She has her complaints in this, and she makes sure that those are well known in the pilot. She makes sure that her complaints are well known in that pilot. So I'm excited to see exactly where her character goes in the series.
same. It's a fizz
Fizz
for
for me
me.
too. Okay. I wanted us to talk about. I know that you mentioned Mark Mester and the other
Lynette
Lynette Romero,
Romero.
thank you, who were fired. But another meteorologist, not at KTLA, not at KTLA, but another meteorologist was getting notoriety this week because he was also fired and let go. Um, and this
This
is
is Spectrum
so
News
yeah,
in New
so New
York,
York
right?
One meteorologist Eric Adam was officially terminated this week for appearing on an adult cam website. Uh, this was quite the shock, I think, to all of their fans and um, those the followers of Eric and his career. But he put a message out on Instagram saying, basically letting everyone know that he's been recently terminated for his job at Spectrum One, at Spectrum News, New York One, um, and letting people know that yes, he is openly gay, yes, he is sex positive, and so he doesn't apologize for that, and that he is remaining and he's remaining optimistic and hopeful about future career opportunities after. Um, Now, yes, he was appearing on the adult webcam site. I am not sure because I haven't actually seen it with my eyes, but there are some um rumors or hints that he may have like referenced New York One by like writing it on his like body while he was on the webcam. I don't know if he was trying to do some type of promotion, some advertising, trying to
Can't
drive
couldn't
some
have
more people
been.
to it, but like,
Couldn't have been.
baby, we can't have this. We can't have this going on. Marcus, what are your feelings
Right.
about this? Are you get? I mean, I know that you are from that world, and we've talked a lot about like certain like clauses and things that you have when you are a on camera, personality for the news. What are your thoughts?
I mean, at the end of the day, when you're looking at people on camera, they're normal people. They have a life too. They do things, they have hobbies, they have interests, they have lifestyles and things like that. I think where he messed up is if it's true that, he was writing New York
Yes.
One and news and stuff on him,
So
like,
I was
why
trying
would
to
you
find
do
like
that?
maybe like a
Like,
photo or
why
a clip, but
even
I mean, no one seems to have it. So
good? Good, because I mean, like, why would you even tell on yourself like that? So that part's a little crazy. I hope he's able to find another job. I mean, I hope he's able to bounce back from this and figure out what his career is going to be after this. But it's unfortunate, but I mean, it happens. I mean, when you sign those contracts, there are clauses in there that say that you're supposed to represent the station and you represent the brand and blah 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 this and that. And if you don't, then they have the authority to terminate you and all of it's a sticky slope. So I mean, I wish him all the best, but that
yeah, this
sucks.
is really unfortunate because it seems like there may have been someone that was like out to get him. These
It's
photos
what
were
it looked
taken
like.
and
Yeah.
submitted to the to the news and to Eric's mother, which is like
Hmm.
also not cool.
So for that reason alone is why I'm giving it a flat because that's messed up. But at the same time, as an on-air person, you've also got to be very
Yeah,
aware of this too.
agree.
So, are you giving it a fizz or a flat?
I give the situation a flat. How Eric is taking it and handling it, I give a fizz too, because I feel like
Yeah, I agree with
it's
that.
definitely a tough situation. He's like, I'm not ashamed. Like, I applaud that. Like, he's like, I'm not ashamed. This is what I do. It's consensual. I'm performing for you know people who want to see me in this light. So
Hmm. Uh, the only other thing I had, so I went and saw Woman King. Have you
I've
seen it
not.
yet?
I want to go this weekend, but like everybody, I mean, it's doing really well. I know that.
I Yeah, I went and saw the performance is great. I will save my critiques until you have
No,
seen
go
it.
ahead.
Um well, no, because I do have some critiques, but I want to actually have a conversation about it because I want to know what you think. Um Overall, the movie was okay. It was solid. Like I said, I thought Viola gave a great performance. I thought all of the girls did. Lashana Lynch, Viola, I forget the other girl's name that was in Doctor Strange. And then the new girl, the younger lady, I forget her name too, but all of the women did an amazing job. They looked great. I thought the story was there. I do have some critiques though. It's a long
Okay.
movie. I was
How
not
long?
prepared for that. I thought it was going to be a it's a good two hour plus movie.
Just not as long as Elvis. That's all I hope.
So so get ready for that. And like I said, I do have some other commentary, but I want to wait till you see it because then you'll understand what I'm saying and then maybe be able to help me answer these questions. But I give it a fizz. Definitely go check it out. It's gotten really good reviews, and like I said, the performances top notch. Viola is doing a damn thing. I've been a huge fan, and so for that alone, I give it a fizz. But I would love to talk about it more once you've had a chance to see it.
Okay. Well, I'll try to
So
go
that's all
out
I
and see if
have.
I can see it this weekend.
Please do.
All right. So last story up
You
for
get,
me is Kenya Barris is coming to film with the Wizard of Oz remake. Um, I don't know if you
are you sure it's not going to be called Wizard of Oddish? Wizard of Oz ish?
so fun. That
We're
was
going to put an
good.
ish
That
on
was
there
a good one.
somewhere.
But what Kenya is saying now, he's been working on this project for a little bit, but now he's making sure that everyone knows that the LGBTQ representation will definitely be reflected in this new remake. He wishes to reflect the world as it is, and so he's gonna definitely make sure that the girls are in there. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's going to be like I don't know if you remember the live action Wiz, the play that the musical they did. You know how they did that nod to like voguing and queer for like the Emerald City.
In the Emerald
I
City.
don't know if it's going to be like that, but it sounds like that there's going to be some girls up in there.
The Munchkin's going to be twirling
I
and
don't know.
dipping and
I don't know
catwalking
if we
down the
need
Yellow
to
Brick
do all of
Road.
that. Um, Nicole Cassell, who did the Watchman, who did Watchmen on HBO, she's going to be directing
Hmm.
this, and so that's promising. I really love that series. Um, yeah,
It was
but
cute. Any news on the cast?
we have not heard anything on the cast.
So is this like the traditional Wizard of Oz or is this the Wiz?
So they're calling it the Wizard of Oz. They're not referring to it as the Wiz. I'm assuming because it's Kenya Barris is that there will definitely be some black. This is it's going to be a black Wizard of Oz. I would assume.
So do you think so let me ask you this. Do you think Todrick Hall is going to go out for the
He
Scarecrow
probably
again?
will. I think he should. I mean, he really loves the story. He really wanted that role. He wanted it the first time it came up for the musical that they did, the live musical.
The NBC
So
musical, yeah.
so yeah, I think he should.
Uh, I don't know if I'm giving this a fizz or a flat. Wizard of Oz is cute, but it was never like a favorite movie of mine.
I really
Yeah,
do like the Wizard
and
of
there's been
Oz. I think
tons
the
of
Wizard of Oz is a
remakes.
good movie. Um I think if it's done differently enough, it could be something cool. Um I am now when he says this LGBTQ representation, I'm interested to know exactly what that's going to look like. Does this mean that
Yeah,
Dorothy's going to have a queer identity, or maybe it's a maybe they go with a different type of Dorothy? Um, so I'm not sure.
they're gonna have people saying, "Are you a friend of
They
Dorothy?"
probably they might have that. I don't know, but it could be interesting. I'm down. I'm always down for queer representation. So him making that a big part of
Same.
this project, I'm going to be here for. So I'm going to give it a fizz.
I am too. Going and rooting for everybody black. So I'll give it a fizz. I'll be interested to see. I'll let me see a trailer and then let's talk. And
Yeah.
then we'll talk. I'm for my Wendy. Let me see a trailer and then we'll talk.
Okay. Well, that's it for
So
me. Do you have anything else for this episode?
nope, that's it. What are
I
your
think I've
final
been saying it
thoughts?
all this throughout the entire episode, and that is when keeping it real goes wrong. Make sure that you're thinking about all of the consequences and repercussions of your actions. Um, you know, from Tory Lanez to Ike Aduma to Adam Levine to Mark Mester. Like, there's just things that you got to think about. Um, you know, when you are when you're feeling led to act or react in a certain way.
Interesting. See, I would even take it a step further and maybe a little bit of a different direction and say that in defense of these news people, they're human. They have people on camera, on news and stuff have a life too. You know, it's very weird when you see somebody that you watch on the 5 o'clock news every day and then you see them out at the club on the weekend. But it's like, well, they're human. They have a life, they have friends, they have family, they have everything else just like you do. And so, I mean, it's not out of the norm for them to want to do things that they think are fun. Now, with that being said, I think at the end of the day, if you're signing that contract, then
Right.
you also have to understand. It's understood that there's only so much fun
Yeah.
that you're allowed to have. Unfortunately, having been in several situations like that too, it's tough to be able to
Separate.
separate your personal identity with that of your on air personality. And so it's something that you always have to be that always has to be at the top of your mind when you're navigating public life.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but it's part of the package if you choose to do it.
Agreed. All right.
That's
Well,
all.
that is our show this week. If you want to continue the conversation, follow us on social media. You can find us at ColdPOP Show, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, um, Facebook at ColdPOP Podcast. You can find me at Trenton Rashad on Instagram, Twitter.
And you can find me at Marcus Drew Steele with an E on the end on all the socials. Thank you all so much for listening this week.
And until next time,
Guess we'll
pop
see y'all next
stars.
week.
Bye.
Bye.